Just let everybody know. Think sometime, who are you? Be in touch with who you are. Because trust me, if you don't, at this stage, get in touch with who you are and get to know this person, who this is, I think it's a wasted life.
Who are you?
Where have you come from? Why are you here? What is your purpose? Really, who am I? I'm just somebody, my mother and father, my father and mother was just horny one night and boom, and I came up. It wasn't that they love each other. It wasn't love. They wanted to fuck and I came out and what the hell happened? Well, what was that purpose for? Really, what was the purpose?
Yeah.
My purpose here? I had no idea. I always wondered this. Who's the first me? Who's the first man in my family? Who is the first man? Where was he at? What year was he born? Before Christ, after? Who was the first me? Who's my first nose come from? Where did I come from? The first person. That was me, my lineage, my bloodline, the first one. How long was he? 200 million years? How long ago was he? You know, I always wanted the first male of my lineage, the first male of this lineage, whoever named, he probably wasn't even a black guy. He probably was white, he could have been an Asian. Who was he? The first one, you know what I mean, that turned me into this. Originally, after all those millions of years, hundreds of millions of years, I came out like this.
Might have been an alien, bro.
You never know who was that first person.
It was more than that. It started off like I'd suffered with mental health problems my whole life, but I didn't know what it was because I never had no education on the matter. And it wasn't until after the Klitschko fight, a very massive high, then I had to have a even worse lowest low that anyone could ever have. I'd wake up and I think, why did I wake up this morning? This is coming from a man who had everything: money, fame, glory, titles, a wife, a family, kids, everything. But I felt as if I had nothing. I felt there was an empty, gaping hole that was just filled with gloom and doom, and it just was one bad thing happened to me after another. Within 7 days, the IBF stripped me of their title because I couldn't defend against Glasgow, who was a nobody, because I had a rematch clause with Vladimir. But the IBF wasn't expecting me to beat Vladimir, so they chucked that clause in there anyway, thinking Vladimir's going to win and he'll defend against Glasgow. But because I won, they stripped me of the belt, which was none of my reason. So I was stuck in between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. That was one belt gone. And then my team and the Klitschko's team were carrying on about where the fight was going to be. It was going to be on a cruise ship in Dubai. It was going to be here. It was going to be there. Time was dragging on.
Only 1889 we started filming, documenting. Can you imagine that? 1890 we started physically documenting, after writing. And we still don't believe the people we see in the 20s or the 1980s. We're always judging their movements. We don't know who they truly are because they're on screen. Imagine one time they have screens. One day they'll start having a screen for every inch of your life. They have your bathroom photographed. They have your kitchen. Every moment of your life you'll be photographed. Well, there's a civilization that's under Turkey that's like 9,000 years old, that's older than Africa, another country under Turkey. Africa is not the oldest country in the world. Wow. There's countries under Africa and under other countries that's been here millenniums. We can't even explain who these people were. Yeah. We don't even understand the messages that they left us because we think we're so superior to them, but we can't even figure out the message that they left us.
Yeah.
Stonehenge and all that stuff. No, nobody knows anything.
At any fight, if someone said something negative about me, he was an old man, he would attack them. He wouldn't let nobody allow any negativity to even seep through my psyche. No. Everything was that I'm invincible, I'm a savage, I'm ferocious. I'm the smartest savage. I don't even think that way anymore.
I was in Holland training for the rematch, and I was running up on heavy terrain, and I went over on my ankle, sprained my ankle quite badly, so we had to postpone the fight. And by the time I was off, like say 3 months, getting this ankle right and all that, I just didn't want to do it anymore, if you know what I mean. I didn't have the desire. The fire wasn't burning no longer to fight. And I was suffering with depression the whole time. Even in training camp, before I sprained my ankle, I was depressed as depressed could be on a daily basis. And I'm thinking, why am I feeling like this? I don't have no reason to feel like it. Some people will say, oh, well, it's attention seeking or whatever. But unless you've experienced what I'm saying, it's sort of impossible to understand where I've been or where I've come from. And it just went from bad to worse. I hit the drink heavily on a daily basis. I hit the drugs. I was out all night partying with women of the night and not coming home. And, I didn't care about boxing. I didn't care about living. I just wanted to die. And I was going to have a good time doing it while I was doing it. I used to drink and take drugs to get away from the depression, because when I was drunk or high, then I wouldn't think about being depressed. I thought about I'm a boxing champion, or I feel great. But as we know, when the drink wears off, it only leaves you with a bad hangover and feeling even more depressed. For someone who suffers with mental health, the worst thing we can do to escape it is take drugs or alcohol.
But yeah, that's the most common approach.
And that's the common approach, because people, we don't know. Because it's not spoke about. And this is where I want to spread the word on mental health, so when other people are in this position in the future, they know where to go and they know what to do, because there's a blueprint. Not really, no, but I was focused on what I wanted to do, and that was beat Vladimir Klitschko. And I believe when you've got a goal in mind from being a child all your life, and you do that, then I was lost. I was almost like I didn't have anything more to do in my life. Although I could have carried on and defended the belts and whatever, I wasn't really interested in doing that. I'd beat the man I'd always wanted to do. Because when I was an amateur boxer, I used to watch Vladimir Klitschko on TV as a world heavyweight champion. And I always aimed, he was my target to beat. And when I finally beat him, it was like climbing my Everest. I didn't have anything more to prove. And the fire was dead. There was no fire. I was forcing myself to fight. And I always said I didn't want to be one of those people who just fought for money.
The after school center, this is where, the poverty-stricken people that live in the project, they have a center there, a youth center, and they go there and they're playing music. They got a jam in the center, so we're going to go to the center. And so, oh man, I don't believe I'm saying it. So I said, okay, I want to go too, can I go? And I said, okay, yeah, sure, you can come. But I'm a young kid, I had no concept of, you had to wash. And so when I went to the center, I said, oh fuck, I still had the bird shit on me from that. So I still have the bird shit and all the stuff, the tar and stuff from being in the pigeon coop, helping them build the coop. So, we have tar paper, so we have to put the tar paper in the coop. When we go back, I never went home and washed. I just had the same clothes I had on. And when I went there, the kids that was on the roof that brought me to the roof, they all had new clothes on. And they all laughed at me. And everybody started laughing at me, and I was scared and embarrassed. I started laughing too. And one of the guys that was on the roof, he had said, what the fuck, you dirty little motherfucker? What you come around here looking like that? Don't you ever wash? And he said, you better meet me at the roof. Meet me tomorrow, motherfucker. Meet me at the roof with the birds where you met me today. Even though that guy wasn't his pigeons, but he was there. He was looking for one of those other guys' brothers. He was older. He said, meet me at the roof. You hear me, shorty? Meet me at the fucking pigeon. Where you were today? And I'm a schmuck. I'm a gal schmucko. So I met him early in the morning, just like when you're going to school. So I met him at the pigeon coop. And from then on, me and him started robbing houses. Because I was younger than him, so he would tell me to ring the doorbell, knock on the door. And if someone comes over, say you're looking for this guy, he'll give me a Jewish name or something. He'll give me some name. He just knew what to say, the right stuff in what neighborhood. And I didn't know. And then they found out nobody was there, he would pick the locks. He would have to pick the lock. We would go in there, we would find money, guns, jewelry. It was just wow. It was just such a rush being into my house and you see that luxury there and it's yours. And he didn't give me much money, but he bought me a lot of nice looking clothes. And he said, you go back to the center looking like this. Don't forget, you hear me, motherfucker? You go looking like this. And then I went to that center, and then it was a whole different, it was totally different. And they used to call me Dirty Mike, Dirty Ike, and it wasn't because I had bad clothes. I always had the best clothes, but I always was on the pigeon coop, and I always got them dirty and tar, and I would never change my clothes and I would never do that. I would never change my clothes to put on some raggedy clothes and be seen in raggedy clothes, because I'd been traumatized from that experience when I went to the daycare center, after school center. So I woke, dying is just as glorious as living when you really think about it, because you couldn't have a life if you didn't have death, and you couldn't have death without life. So how can death be less glorious than life? They're both intertwined with one another.
And the reasons for me fighting, it's not for money or for belts or glory. I fight because I don't know anything else. I've always been a fighter, from being born to being 30 years old now. It's all I love to do. I don't have any other passion. I've looked. The Lord knows I've looked. And if I had anything else I was good at or I could do, I'd be doing it. I tried retirement. I was 27. I retired under the second man in boxing heavyweight history to retire unbeaten as a world champion like Rocky Marciano before me. But it wasn't enough. I was like, I am lost without this fight game. I tried golfing, I tried clay pigeon shooting, I tried 4x4ing, I tried going to strip clubs, bars, restaurants, everything. And it was just like, I had this emptiness inside where I just wanted to fight. And he'd done this video, after seeing this evidence of Tyson Fury, I finally know he's finished. He can never come back, and even if I would have fought him in his heyday, I'd have knocked him out. And before that, he was talking about Mike Tyson, how he'd knocked Mike Tyson out in a round. And I thought to myself, that's very disrespectful to talk about someone who's not even from your era and wanting to fight them and all that sort of stuff when there's no possible chance. So I thought to myself, you know what, if I ever do fight you, I'm going to give it you for that reason. And then when I saw this other video of him saying the things about me and I couldn't come back and that, it gave me that much more motivation to return, just so I can beat Deontay Wilder. So I had all these court cases on as well. I was being charged with taking performance-enhancing drugs, nandrolone, something I'd never done. I had nandrolone in my system. It's produced naturally in the body, but they say my levels were elevated. The UKAD, UK anti-doping, said there was no case to answer. But all of a sudden I had a big WADA case on me. That took nearly 3 years to sort out. And everyone said, you're getting your hat nailed on here, son. You're getting a 12-year ban. And I said, you know what?
12-year ban
12
for
years.
nandrolone?
Not just for nandrolone. Well, I refused them as well. I was in a bad mood one day and the drug testing people come in the gym and I told them to fuck off.
This is when you were training for your comeback?
This was when I was out of training, when I was just... All the time I was fat and out of shape and not training, I was still being random drug tested by UKAD.
Really?
That's why I tested positive twice for cocaine. And everyone said, no, you're never getting back. The Boxing Board of Control suspended my licence in the UK for the cocaine use. So I had a court case looking at ban forever, basically. Suspension. The doctor made me medically unfit to fight. So that was after, I forgot about that bit. When I was rescheduling the Klitschko 2 fight, this psychiatrist phoned up and she says, look, he is medically unfit. He can't fight anybody. He don't want to live, never mind fight. So I was medically deemed unfit to box, suspended by the Boxing Board of Control for the cocaine use, and I had a nandrolone case on me and a refusal case. And by the way, it was racking up millions of dollars in lawyers' fees too.
Yeah, they used to bully me in school. And so I never went back to school. So when my mother used to send me to school, I would just be hanging around the school, walking around the school. And if, normally we have security guard, the truants officer that see me, I would take off and run, or hide in the building, abandon the building. But normally, my mother knew I wasn't going to school. And then I met some guys one day, and they pursued to ripping me off, and they realized I didn't have no money. But on lunchtime, I used to go in school and eat lunch, and then leave school again. So, especially when they had been meatballs and spaghetti. So, one time these guys, they wanted to rip me off, and I didn't have no money, so they asked me, do you want to fly birds with me? So I said, what do you mean? They said, you want to fly with us? And then I realized that they took me to this abandoned building, but they wanted me to get my milk. The milk, climb the fence and throw milk crates over to them. And I didn't understand why they wanted the milk crate, but I did it anyway, because I was kind of scared. And then they took me to this abandoned building. I didn't know what they were going to do to me in that building, So when I went up there, I saw on the roof, they had pigeons. And then after that, I never went to school again. Once I found that I had a pigeon coop, and I could be these guys' flunkies and go to the store for them and if the birds were horrible, they were in horrible conditions. So the birds would fly for a little while, then they'd land on another roof, and then make me get up and go on that roof short and get the birds off the roof. So I would go to all these roofs that the lady birds flew on and scare the birds off, hoping that they would go back to the roof where the guys were. And I thought that was pretty cool because I felt wanted, because at least somebody wanted me to do something for them. So the next day, instead of going back around, walking around school, I went to the pigeon coop. And the guy saw me and he said, "Excuse me, young man." They said, "What the fuck are you doing?" And they started throwing bricks at me and while they were on the roof. And I said, hey, I just came around to see you guys need me to do anything for y'all today, like help with the birds or go to the store for you, that's all. But they had thought that I was coming back around to steal their birds. And I had no concept of stealing birds back then.
Everything was going to be okay, because when I was down on my knees, I just knew that it was going to be okay. And everyone was like, "What's the point in training and doing anything with you when you can't do anything, you're not in a position to do it?" I said, "Everything's going to be all right, don't worry." Court case comes along in December. We go, they say, "Right, this court case is dragged on, insufficient evidence, get rid of it." We both agreed that we was going to call quits on the case. I go my way, they go theirs. They pay their legal fees, I pay my legal fees. Done. That was a drugs case out the window, finished. The suspension, I had a meeting with the Border Control in the UK, and they said, "Look, if you can get past medically fit by a doctor, mentally, then we'll reassess your case. Until then, denied." So I said, "Right, no problem." Phoned up the psychiatrist, the same people who I'd spoke to, all these doctors, 3 or 4 different Dr. Phils, Dr. Jones, whoever else. Said, "Right, I need reassessing." Reassessed me, bang, passed, flying colours. I went back to the Border Control, handed in my certificate by all these different doctors, examinations, physical and mental. They said, "We have no other choice but to give you your licence reinstated." Bang. So it was 3 of the biggest obstacles in my life at once were all done within a month or 2, straight away. Then I just had the easy task of losing 160 pounds. Which, if I could have got over all them other things, losing weight as a fighter was something that I'd done natural anyway. So then me and Ben set about losing this 160 pounds. And on the way back, I spoke to Frank Warren, and he became my promoter. And Frank said, "Right, you've had a long time out the ring, you've abused your body. Let's get you 4 or 5 comeback fights, just so you're ready." I said, "Okay, no problem." Had the one comeback fight, had the other comeback fight. I said to Frank, "I don't need any more comeback fights, make the Wilder fight now." No, he said, "Let's have a couple more just in case." I said, "I'm telling you, make the Wilder fight." So this is where people don't understand. I've picked Deontay Wilder. He didn't pick me. I picked him.
I just wanted someplace to hang out instead of walking around the streets all day, and some weird guys be asking me to get in the car and suck their dick or let them suck my dick or something when I was outside just waiting for school to come out or waiting for the lunch to appear. So I would be on the roof with these guys who I didn't know, who might have killed me also, right? So they said, "Yeah, go," and then they throw down someone, "Go to the store and get some cigarettes and get a knee-high soda." After throwing bricks at me, and so I go upstairs.
We don't know who we are. How we gonna figure out something else? We don't even know who we are.